Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I certainly support the Honourable Lady on the one thing, and that is the thugs. For all of my political career, both in the House and in local government, we've had right and left-wing thugs, and some of them are beyond imagination, especially around the dark corners and some of the inner-city areas I worked in. For further safety, Mr. Speaker, I need to declare a number of interests. I am a very part-time dentist. I'm a member of the NFU. I'm an ethnic minority immigrant holding dual nationality. Unlike the front benches, I'm the immigrant. In the referendum, I voted to remain in spite of the growing discomfort as the EU progressively integrated politically, but I've changed. As the negotiations have moved, the EU appears to have moved closer to unity. It was a great relief to me that we did not join the euro. And this was brought home to me by someone who had visited the Visitors Centre to the European Parliament and informed me there is a plaque there that says, and I quote, "National sovereignty is the root cause of the most crying evils of our times." It then goes on to say, the only final remedy for this evil is the federal union of the peoples. Marx lives. As I've said, I voted Remain. I lost. I accept the vote, and I'm fully committed to the UK leaving the EU with a reasonable compromise deal. And I say that because, having been a minister many years ago negotiating with the Europeans, they are tough negotiators, but then too, so were we. We always ended up, to some measure, with a compromise. Those colleagues who say we should go back and demand this or that changes, I really are away with the pixies. And I expected a response from my colleague with whom we agree to disagree on many things, including this particular one. The thought that the EU and the 27 will roll over the demand of colleagues on either side of the House after 2.5 years of tough negotiations beggars belief. Like all colleagues, I listened and talked to my constituents, or rather, they talked mostly to me. They have moved too, especially the business people. They're saying, get on with it. What are you doing in the House of Commons? Stop it and get on with it. As I mentioned, I belong to the NFU. Over the last few weeks, my local NFU members, in classic farmer speak, and there is a classic farmer speak, have been asking, what are you lot mucking about with in Westminster? A number of these families have farms here and in France. Many, if not most, export their products, agricultural products, to Europe. All I have spoken to want us to take this deal and move. Their livelihood depends on the trade, as do my Mole Valley manufacturers. An additional factor raised by manufacturers and farmers is relief at the new attitude appearing on immigration. I arrived in the UK under a work permit as a needed professional and spent a considerable time working in London on the National Health Service. Many of my New Zealand and Australian doctors and dentist colleagues did the same. Then when we went into the EU, or the Common Market, that stopped. And the importance was brought home to me a couple of years ago when I ran an Otago University, Otago is my old university, alumni dinner in the members' dining room. About 30 medical, dental and other distinguished academics from the university flew over from the United States and Canada. They pointed out to me the huge numbers of New Zealand and Australian academics, doctors, dentists, in America who would have preferred to come here and may if these new immigration approaches happen. But, as ever, one of my farmers had a last word. He said, in recognising skills, we need to accept the many forms. Considering my background, I left from a very large sheep farm in New Zealand, which now, after lambing, has 50,000 sheep. So I was caught and amused by his remark. He said to me, we used to like New Zealand and Australian sheep shearers coming to this country to shear our sheep. Does sheep shearing, could you ask the Home Secretary, count as a skill? Mr. Speaker, I'm backing this deal, and I hope we will wake up, grab the deal next week and move forward, because we spent too long negotiating, too long waiting for it to happen.